Hacksaw Jim Duggan here, VOC Nation, tough guy.
Check out In the Room every Tuesday night at 9. Listen in. Pro Wrestling Illustrated Brady Hicks, former WCW star. What's up? This is the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, and you're in the room with Brady Hicks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're live. We're on the air. It's In the Room on the VOC Nation Radio Network. We are streaming on VOCNation.com, and so excited for the first time ever. You guys can check us out on the VOC Nation YouTube account as well. You can just go to VOCNation.com and click on the little videos tab, and we'll be right up there. We're not live on YouTube, but we will be going up over the next 24 hours or so, so be sure to check that out. Brady Hicks, just to my right, well, that way, laying down, it appears, at least from my vantage point, Stro Maestro. What's going on, Stro?
Oh, man, you woke me up. I was thinking of that, but how you doing? Great to be here.
Good. You're getting a rush of adrenaline. The lovely Kathie Fitz. I usually lead off with you, Kathie. I don't know what I was thinking. What's going on tonight, Kathie Fitz?
Not much, Brady. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Now Stro's upside down. This world is getting crazier as we go.
Am I still upside down?
Yeah, this is awesome.
Okay, let me
Not for me.
Let me reverse it here.
Not for Kathie. Oh, and also, that's it. Now you're no longer Sideways Stro.
Yes. I lost the gimmick. That's great.
We are fixers right there. And also joining us, the one and only Maniac, Matt Grimm. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, this is what I do. I'm a joiner. I'm a complete total joiner, follower, however you want to look at it.
Some might call me conjoined. I don't even, I'm kidding. Of course, I'm kidding. That doesn't even make sense.
I don't know where we're going with this one.
I'm not attached to anything whatsoever. I got to be real careful because I forgot to close the studio door there so anybody can hear what I'm saying right now. 914-338-1885 is the number to get in touch with us here tonight. Oh, my God. We're going to have some fun tonight, guys. We are. I was trying to think of, what we could talk about, what would be different. Stro, every week on WCW Retro, you come up with these cool ideas, funniest moments, best bloopers, best finishers, all this awesome stuff. And I'm like, we got to do something. I don't have a guest. We got to come up with something. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks, Kathie.
Oh, boy.
It just hit me like that. It hit me. I realized that we need to do a show on the most disappointing wrestling moments of our lives. Something you were so amped up about that just fell so short. I think it would be a great idea, and I definitely want to talk about that tonight.
There goes the podcast.
914-338-1885 is the number to get in touch with us here tonight, and I hope the fact that you're seeing our faces for the first time doesn't really kind of affect that, but doesn't affect how you look at us at least. Oh, man. By the way, I really dug Randy Orton's mask. He kind of reminded me of Mr. Wrestling, like a Mr. Wrestling meets Kane, I guess you'd say.
I thought he was joining the Lucha House Party there for a second. The new member.
It was definitely something, yeah, and I dug it. I really did dig it. So we should make fun of his mask tonight, Matt. I think that would be a good time.
He's turning into Cody Rhodes Part 2.
Did Cody have a mask?
Remember when he remember they burned his face with acid, and then he started wearing this.
That's right.
From being the pretty boy to this Dr. Doom type character.
That's right.
I love Dr. Doom, man. Oh my God.
Didn't he wear a paper bag or something?
He was handing out paper bags when he was.
That was it.
He was
that
with
was
the eyeballs cut out.
That was horrible.
And it was dope. I thought that was actually kind of funny.
If he was going to do that, he should have been did the whole unknown comic gimmick. That'd been from the Gong Show. That'd been great.
In any event,
hey, Chucky,
nothing
baby.
about Randy. In any event, nothing about Randy Orton is funny. Nothing. He's not a funny guy at all. And on top of that, I was really kind of surprised to hear, Matt. I don't even know if people realize this, but Randy Orton is the bad guy in this feud. The bad guy literally got fire blown in his face by the good guy, by Alexa, by Bray Wyatt. Does that make any sense whatsoever?
No.
And considering she's 5'0".
I feel like you want me to elaborate, but what else do you want me to say?
I mean, it's stupid.
They've got some roles reversed here.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
What luchador name would you name Randy? That'd be fun to figure out.
No poop in a bago. I don't know.
How do you say legend killer in Spanish?
El Psycho.
No Psycho.
I don't know. What was Alberto Del Rio when he was masked? He was I'm drawing a blank.
El Patron?
I shouldn't. And when he was masked?
No, that was in Lucha Underground, right? That he was Alberto El Patron.
I think so, yeah. That was toward the end, yeah.
Yeah.
In any event, Randy Orton looks weird with a mask. How bad could his burns be if his nose is exposed? And I just find it hard to believe that he's the bad guy in this feud. I just kind of assumed it was a classic heel versus heel feud. Like, you don't get that often unless Bret Hart's leaving the company and you got to do something in an emergency.
Now he has to rename his finish Aloe Vera.
Oh, bro, that was bad.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So anyway, 914-338-1885 is the number to get in touch with us here tonight. It is really kind of weird to look at your faces while we do this. I got to say. I hope people get something out of it.
Do the Wayne's World deal.
I should have gotten my little Alexa Bliss action figure out, do something fun for everybody. But
have her change clothes like Monday night.
Yeah. During a commercial break where it was so obvious that there was no supernatural powers at work, they just took a commercial break so she could get changed real quick. Terrible.
914-338.
Afraid of her.
914-338-1885 is the number to get in touch with us here tonight. Once again, right now the phone lines are actually wide open, so anybody that calls in, I promise we can get you right on. But I did, in all seriousness, I mentioned the whole wrestling disappointment thing, and everybody's had those letdowns, where you're really looking forward to something and it just absolutely fails to deliver, whether it's the quality wasn't what you thought it was going to be, or maybe just the angle didn't pan out the way you thought, or you thought somebody was going to get a really great win and they didn't. For example, for what comes to mind for me, Matt, WrestleMania 7. I was very disappointed to see Randy Savage walk away from WWF in that retirement match. I know it didn't last. It lasted about 10 months. But it was very sad for me, It was just it was something that and I don't know that you can really be disappointed by the things that they present on TV today, because it's hard to take it very seriously. But I mean, to me, that's a perfect example of something where you don't want to see it happen, and then by God, it happens, you know?
Yep.
So anyway, so that was my idea for tonight, to talk about that, and to certainly get your ideas as far as that goes. I'm pulling double duty here, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get used to everything here. Let's go to the phones, and we're gonna bring on Granny. Granny Hulkster's up first, and
Hello.
hello. Granny, if I could hire you to be the British lady. Granny, could I hire you to be the new British lady on Blog Talk? Be so much better.
Well, I don't have I don't have much of a British accent, but I could fake it.
Yeah, you don't need it. No, but you say things like you call horror, you call it whore, and like things like that. I think are like it makes it sound so much better.
Oh man.
I'm just being goofy.
You got to remember, Brady. Yeah, I know. You got to remember, I'm not originally from Arkansas, so I don't have that Arkansas. Yes, I'm a Kansas girl, so I don't have that Arkansas twang, about me,
I know, but when you're talking for a month and a half about the extreme rules,
I'm not like, because I worked at a T-shirt shop when I lived over in Eureka, by Eureka Springs, which is like a little town they call Eureka Springs.
Yeah.
Eureka Springs, they call it like the little Switzerland of the Ozarks because of like the little downtown area, like the buildings, it's kind of like Switzerland, They call it the little Switzerland of the Ozarks.
Okay.
And they had a T-shirt.
Switzerland's cheese too. That's good.
Sylvester the cat. Sylvester the cat on it.
Yeah.
And,
oh yeah.
How he always says suffer and succotash. Well, on the T-shirt it would say Arkansas, like THAW instead of Arkansas. It'd be like Arkansas.
That is funny.
I don't have that Arkansas twang. So.
Well, all I know is like
talking about tonight. I mean, I missed the beginning of the show, so you were talking about something, and
we were talking about disappointments. We were talking about disappointment. We talked about a lot of stuff, and most of it doesn't mean a lick of anything. But I was talking about disappointments tonight. Things that you're really psyched for that just fell totally flat. For example, when I hear about Extreme Rules horror show for 6 weeks, and then I tune in and it's nothing like what I expect, that's a disappointment. I'm kidding, of course. It wasn't. I didn't really expect a horror show. I expected a horror show, and in a lot of ways it was a horror show. But yeah, we were talking about disappointments tonight, Granny. Have you ever been really disappointed by something?
Oh yeah, I mean lots of times, but that's neither here nor there.
Most of them involve me, I'm sure.
Well, I was kind of like, it was like Sunday. I had a little disappointment when Patrick Mahomes got hurt during the Chiefs-Cleveland Browns game, and they had to take him out in the third quarter. But
oh yeah, he looked like one of those Muppets with his eyes.
Ended up winning it.
Yeah.
And see, they thought he had a concussion.
Yeah, he had like a neck trauma or something, right?
Find it now. What? Yeah, he's got a tweaked pinched nerve in his neck from where the guy grabbed his neck when he pulled him down.
Yeah, it's like me with my elbow.
I got happy when Kansas City ended up coming back and winning. So, got prayers for Patrick and prayers for the Kansas City Chiefs. But if he gets the cleared by the doctor, he may be able to play Sunday against Buffalo. So, we're hoping.
Hopefully, I think he'll play. I think he'll play.
So,
and if he doesn't, then Buffalo's going to the Super Bowl, baby.
No, I hope not. Well, I think Green Bay is going to come back and beat Tampa Bay. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be able to beat Green Bay, but
I
don't know.
You're
we'll
right.
see.
God, I hope you're right.
We'll see, but I've had my share of disappointments in my life over a lifetime. I mean,
how about in wrestling? Anything in wrestling really disappoint you? I'll give you another example, one that really hit me, Matt. When Ric Flair came into the WWF, I wanted that Hogan versus Flair match so bad. And they did like a house show with it. They promised it for WrestleMania. They teased it at the Royal Rumble, and then nothing. Not a thing. And that was a match that I think, like, as a reader of PWI and somebody that had been following it for so long, like, that was like the dream match for me as a kid. And I didn't get to see it really until WCW.
How did that make you feel?
Kind of not great, because I think Vince might have booked it a little bit better. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like when Hogan went into WCW, I understand where they're coming from, but I felt like when Hogan went into WCW, they basically fed Flair to the wolves.
Yeah, because he was clearly, I mean, it was obvious watching television that he was no longer important in the way that he had been historically leading up to that.
I mean, he went from, like, defeating Vader, who, like, was untouchable, to, like, I don't know. It just, I felt like
up the Four Horsemen every week.
King Kong Bundy gave Hulk Hogan more of a fight. Honestly, Kevin Sullivan did too.
Yeah.
Stro, you're too nice. You're just like sitting back, and I know. That's why everybody loves you and everybody hates me. But that's the truth, though. It was something that I was really disappointed by, the booking of that entire thing.
And they had it right there, right? Everything right in front of them.
I know.
Let it slip.
Like, think of it. It's the two biggest stars of the 80s. And don't get me wrong. Like, I was happy. Like, they did Savage and Flair. I thought it was great. I thought it was amazing. But it just made me wonder what could have been with Hogan even more because of how great the Savage feud was. Not to harp, but that was a disappointment, Granny.
Well, you know, you talk about, I mean, I didn't get to make it to this CWA show down in Hot Springs, but Ric Flair was supposed to be there with J.J. Dillon.
Uh-huh.
And anyways, at the last minute, Flair, I don't even remember the reason why Flair didn't make it, but so people, instead of being happily understanding, I mean, they were being such jerks about it that, you know, they were refunding their money, you know, for the meet and greet to meet Flair and everything, you know, and they ended up bringing Lex Luger in for the, you know, the show. And like I said, I didn't get to make it to that show, but that's the only CWA show I never got to make it at. But I mean, and right now they're not running, obviously, because of COVID, and I don't know if they're ever going to be doing any more shows now that Matt's retiring from wrestling. But anyways, I wasn't so much disappointed that I didn't get to go. I mean, I was kind of disappointed and didn't get to go, but I was disappointed in the way the people were acting. You know, I mean, you know, that's why, you know, you have on the road, you know, card is subject to change, you know, because sometimes, you know, things happen. I mean, it's just the way it is. Things happen. I mean, it's kind of like we were at a show
subject to change is one thing.
And Alan Steele couldn't make it because of the weather, you know, and everything. But they were just, these people were being vicious. I mean, they were being rude. They were just like out for, I mean, they were acting really stupid. They were just totally just out of control.
I hear you, Granny.
And I mean, you know, and things happen. I mean, you know, I don't even remember the reason why. I think it was because he was sick or he came down sick with the flu or something, you know, and just people just got really irate about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, okay, we're not going to do any more shows. And it was like, I mean, they did do a few more shows after that, but it was like there for a while, they were just saying, well, you know, we're just not going to do any more shows. If you all are going to act this way, we're just not going to do any more shows. But, you know, people don't need to, I guess I try to be nice to people, and sometimes, you know, I try to help people, and sometimes it's come back to bite me in my butt. And, I get taken advantage of, but I mean, I try to see the good in everybody, and I try to, be helpful to people, but that's the way I've always been.
Right.
And, so I don't know. But, I mean, I like my wrestling. I would personally right now, I get more enjoyment going to an independent wrestling show and watching that as compared to and watching Monday Night Raw or SmackDown right now, because the way things are going right now. I mean, it's like last night, on Raw, Alexa Bliss, she had a match with Asuka, and it was like Asuka, she invited Asuka to her playland or whatever she's doing it. She was sitting on the swing and, and being her little happy little self. And then the match came up towards the end of the night between her and Asuka, and all of a sudden, how the Fiend would pop up out of nowhere. Alexa Bliss, you see this black gothic-looking lipstick on her face and these really evil-looking eyes. And
yeah, it is.
She ends up beating Asuka, and then all of a sudden, her face pops back. Oh, I'm so happy, It's just like, and that's kind of how Raw ended, And it started off with Randy Orton wearing a mask, and he's got like second or third degree burns on his nose and his face, and and he's wearing this mask, and and it's just like I get more enjoyment watching an independent wrestling show right now than WWE, but that's just me, so.
That is just, I hear you, Granny. I hear you. Sounds like
How are you, Stro?
you've lived a lifetime.
Great. How you doing, Granny?
And how are you? I'm doing good. How are you, Matt?
I can't complain. And even if I did, nobody would listen or care. So, hey.
Well, I would. I would listen and I would care. And I apologize because last week when you brought me on towards the end of the show, I didn't think Ray was still on, or I would have said hello to him, but I didn't think he was still on. So
he was very upset.
If you're listening, I do apologize for not talking to you or not recognizing you last week. I do apologize because I honestly didn't know if you were still on or not when they brought me on towards the end of the show. So if you're listening, Ray, Granny certainly does send her apologies.
Well, he's not listening right now, but I'll be sure to pass them on, Granny.
Is Kathie here tonight? Is Kathie here tonight?
Yeah, I'm
with
here
us?
tonight, Granny. Yes, I am.
Hi, Kathie. I hope you're feeling better, dear. I hope you're feeling better.
I am.
So,
thank you.
That's good.
Kathie, I learned I can get the vaccine this week because I'm obese.
Are you sure you didn't have COVID yet?
What's that?
If you had COVID and you get the vaccine, just a little FYI, you're going to feel like you had the flu for a few days.
Oh, well, I'm not sure I'm going to get it anyway. I'm still mulling it over.
Well,
I don't really...
my second shot next week.
Okay. I'm trying to decide. I was actually surprised that I qualify as obese, but I mean, I did, put on a little bit of weight, but it's driving me nuts.
See, I had a friend here. I had a friend here in Arkansas.
Oh, Matt, you're missing it, Matt.
That got her first dose. That she got her first dose of the vaccine.
Yeah.
And she got very, very, very sick from the first dose. She had a really bad reaction to it.
I'm just like,
I don't know if
I don't know. Like, I'm just like,
I want to get it. I mean, I know I probably need
to,
but I don't know if I want to.
Like, okay, why do we wear the mask? We wear the mask to protect ourselves, right?
Correct.
Okay, so why do we get the vaccine?
So eventually we won't have to wear the mask.
Right, but if I get the vaccine, I shouldn't have to wear the mask. That's my argument.
You got to wait 2 weeks after each shot until it helps.
Yeah. But even then, like, I still have to put it on to go shopping. I still have to put it on to go anywhere.
Yeah, because other people aren't getting the vaccine.
But that's on them.
Yeah, but Brady,
you still have to protect yourself from the other people that don't have the vaccine or aren't wearing a mask, or you still have to protect yourself.
I'm just like, I don't know.
I mean,
We
have a very good friend that lives.
Hold on, Greg.
Lives down by. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead, Matt.
Because I don't think they know yet if the vaccine prevents you. Like, if you
can still carry it.
Like, the idea is this. Like, yeah, you could still carry it and pass it to other people. Possibly.
Yeah.
And I think that's just not known yet because the vaccine hasn't been around that long.
Yeah. And that's another reason why I want to wait.
I think we're looking at mask wearing until next year at some time.
Oh, honestly, yeah, that's my thing. That's my thing. Stro, you got a new friend there. Who's that?
Oh, that's Mummy. Say hello, Mummy.
Is it Gurgu? Oh, Mummy. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not. You sure that's not the Yetai? Yetai Jr.?
Well, he's a distant cousin, but
okay.
He gotta keep in touch.
He's like, I am Yetai instead of I am Groot.
Oh yeah.
Oh, great.
He can dance too. He can get down.
Oh, jeez.
This is the kind of stuff you can only get by subscribing to the VOC Nation YouTube account. Be sure to search for VOC Nation Radio Network on YouTube, and you'll find this and all the other great programs on there as well. I believe that we're the second program to air video like this, so it's an exciting thing, Granny. And thank you for calling tonight.
Well, you're welcome. It's always a pleasure to get to talk to you wonderful people. So.
You too. Bye-bye.
Take care, Granny. Love you.
That was great.
Sure was.
Yeah. That was great.
That was riveting.
Got Ray in the chat. How about that?
This is really cool, actually.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying being able to look at you guys and yeah, this is fun.
Well, every so often you might see a cat behind me over here.
Hooray!
Okay,
yes.
Oh yeah, how about that? Okay.
Boo! Boo!
Oh no, the heckler is on. So Ray Bogusz is joining us as well. And who do we have here? I thought that was Kenny Bolin at first.
So for those of you listening, what you're missing is you can't see video of me. I don't wish to be seen in any meaningful sense. So
on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't want people to see me, and I need just enough plausible deniability. And so
I think that looks like you, kind of.
Oh, it does. It does. Don't misunderstand. That definitely looks like me. But for those watching, you see this week's avatar, and that's Happy Humphrey, the first super heavyweight. Oh, active in the.
Oh, Sparky! Sparky's here too.
Hey, Sparky.
Hey, Sparky.
Yeah, Matt, you're going to want to go back and watch this video. It's just chock full of interactive entertainment for your enjoying pleasure.
I feel left out now.
Maybe next time call that instead, and at least you can. Oh, man. 914-338-1885. So what I want to do right now is we're going to take a commercial break. We'll get that out of the way, and then we won't take one for at least an hour. Again, 914-338-1885. This is In the Room on the VOC Nation Radio Network, and we will be right back.
This is Matt Hardy, and you are listening to the VOC Nation.
Rock and Roll Union for the past 2 years has been the place for rock and roll, new rock and roll, debuting rock and roll, and some of the old classics as well. We have welcomed guests from around the world, national artists, and more. We have excited many people by our live events. We've welcomed everybody into the fold, and we continue to do so on a weekly basis. Guys, that is Rock and Roll Union, and that is what we do for you.
Saturdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, VOCNation.com.
Since 2012, HISC Talk Radio has been bringing you the best of independent wrestling and wrestling on the worldwide scale, with interviews and other segments now featuring the Wrestling Historian with Craig Legans. every Thursday night at 6 p.m. at VOCNation.com, or go to your Android or iPhone and type in VOC Nation Radio Network and subscribe to the greatest wrestling podcast network in the world. Listen to HIAC Wrestling Podcast today.
VOC Nation provides live daily streaming shows where fans have the ability to interact with the hosts and guests by phone call, email, and Twitter. VOC Nation hosts include the legendary Ken Resnick, who you probably remember from the AWA and WWE, former WCW performer The Maestro, Wes Brisco, who you probably remember from Impact, Brady Hicks, who you remember from Pro Wrestling Illustrated, former WWE and TNA star Shelly Martinez, and former Philly radio personality Bruce Wirt. What are you waiting for? Go listen live right now at VOCNation.com and subscribe to all of our podcasts by searching for VOC Nation Radio Network on your favorite podcast app. Oh, and follow them on Twitter too, at VOC Nation.
The worldwide leader in entertainment. This is the VOC Nation Radio Network.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. It's In the Room on the VOC Nation Radio Network at VOCNation.com, and we are live. We're also live for the first time. Well, not live, but we're available on the VOC Nation YouTube channel as well. Check out all the great stuff that VOC Nation has to offer: editorials, videos, great podcasts, both live and on demand. Lots of great stuff from the last week. Gerald Brisco was on with Brisco and Big Ace. Be sure to check that out. We had, what's her name? I can't think of her name. With the half of a face painted, the famous women's wrestler. She was in the NWA and the AEW. Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa was with Sassy Steph. I couldn't think of her name. I could see her face, and I could see her face. And
she became the Spanish promo, Brady. Watch out.
She'd be kicking my punta, as they say.
Ouch.
914-338-1885.
Hopefully the audio's better this time.
Yeah, and lots of great stuff. By the way, Bill Apter was on Wrestling with History last week, and he told this great story about the Macho Man wanting to kill him and Hulk Hogan having to step in and save his butt. So I recommend checking it out. It's amazing. It's amazing. Once again, 914-338-1885. Before we dip into the callers, and I see they're starting to line up now. Stro, what do you got going on this week, man?
With this Thursday night, WCW Retro returns on VOCNation.com at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the topic of discussion for this Thursday night will be wrestling's giants, monsters, and attractions. So please join us this Thursday night. And then this Friday night at 12 midnight will be another edition of my hard sci-fi show, The Stro Zone, on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Stro the Maestro. And Friday night's feature will be Tobor the Great from the 50s. So please tune in.
Ooh, I like
That's
it.
a good one.
Well, I got a freak show for you, Stro.
All
You're
right.
ready. By the way, we're talking great wrestling disappointments in your life as well tonight. So there's two ways to tie this in. There's two ways to tie this in then, as I bring on Rat Boy. What's going on, my friend?
Nothing much, and I want to say
Nothing, honey. Remember that commercial? Nothing, honey.
I love that cereal. Nothing, honey, man.
Nothing, honey. Yeah. What about Bitto, honey? I like those.
Right? That got me hungry.
Well, I went to see Dennis Baker today.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying that I may have my dentures before Valentine's Day.
Wow, that's exciting. What are you going to do once you get them?
Yeah.
I'm going to go ask somebody out, and we're going to go get some of that T-bone steak. Is it better?
Now, Rambo, when you say you're going to ask somebody out, when you say you're going to ask somebody out, do you mean a person or like another rat?
Person, a nice, sweet, simple person.
All right. Now, how old is this person?
Didn't work.
I'm not
Didn't work.
sure. I think she's in her 30s, I think.
All right. Ramboy, I think you should go younger. You know, you're a hip dude. I think
look at Mike. Look at Mike. Like he would go for like 19.
Yeah, Rat Boy, you need to hit up Temple University.
Don't rob any cradles, Rat Boy. No robbing cradles, please.
Yeah. Go hit up Temple and
No. I don't have to go to Temple. I don't have to go to Temple. I can go right to Princeton University. Maybe I might have to pick up
Princeton
there.
You go to Princeton? Temple girls. Come on. Yeah, Temple girls are the best. Aside from
haven't you ever read about the ancient Romans? The Temple girls were tops.
Who cares about Temple? Princeton's got the rich girls. That means they
that's
don't have
true.
to buy. They got to buy.
Either they're that or they're smart. They might not be rich.
That's true.
And if they're smart, they're going to see right through you.
Wait a minute.
Well, they're going to see through him anyway because Rat Boy's translucent.
That's true.
Hey, that's how I came, found his wife, and came to America. You listen to the barbers, and barbers tell them to go to like good places like churches and the Miss Black America pageant. Yeah, that was that.
So, Rat Boy, are you going to try to ask someone out at the Miss Black America pageant?
No, I'm going to ask somebody in a couple of weeks right here on the show. How's that?
And maybe you can do a duet with Sexual Chocolate. That'd be great. You can like record it and send it to us.
Yeah.
There you go.
That would be great.
There you go. So, he said he's going to ask someone out on the show. I guess congratulate. God, I hate to say this, but like she's the only one who qualifies. I guess.
It's not Granny and it's not Kathie. It's somebody else.
On the show?
And Brady knows who it is. And
So help you God.
Who it is.
So help you God, Rat Boy. If it's me, I'm going to scream.
No. It's how could I put it? It's one of your ex-girlfriends, maybe?
I know. I'm trying to get you away to her.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, this will be fabulous.
The one that was on Channel 6 News. Laughing. I love her laugh. Her giggle.
You would probably love to chain her up and listen to her laugh in the basement.
I can't wait for the 911 audio that's going to be produced.
So, are you planning to use like bungee cords or like duct tape, or how are you going to get her?
Don't worry about it. I'm going to try everything. I'm
worried about it. I'm worried about it.
Learn and see.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. Enough with these stupid hats, man.
Did you check out my picture that I done over the weekend of the skull, the sugar skull?
No.
Check that out.
Didn't see it.
Well, check it out because I done that. It took me 4 days to do it.
4 days.
4 days. Wow.
Well,
what'd you do? Refine the sugar yourself?
Hubert Humphrey pops up. 4 days. Wow.
4 days. Wow.
That's how long it takes to circle the sun.
Oh, it aged well, right? Oh my God.
I went back to one of my old hobbies.
Okay.
Coloring and coloring books.
Do you still churn butter, Rat Boy?
No.
Okay, I was just curious.
What?
You know, he seems more like a fudge guy to me. Do you ever stir fudge?
Hey.
No. You know what I used to do? You want me to really tell you what I used to do?
Probably not.
I can imagine just like your trip where those kids were in the bakery. And we legit touch bakery. Now, put your clothes back on, my boy.
No. I used to,
make butter.
Pork roll, bologna.
You used to make pork roll and bologna?
I used to make it all that.
Oh, my.
Did you make hot dogs?
I used to make it's called Zoffers bologna.
You're not just talking about pooping into pantyhose, are you? Because that's disgusting.
No.
Okay. All right.
I used to make bologna.
Where there goes my
I
appetite.
just want to make sure. Yeah, I want to make sure. Mine too.
I used to make hot dogs too. Hot dogs too.
How'd you make hot dogs, Rat Boy? How was your
How
hot
do you make
dogs?
hot dogs? You make scrapple?
What kind of Rats Eat Armor hot dogs?
Rat Boy, you ever lose part of a finger when you're making your hot dogs?
No, somebody did. Eventually somebody did that.
That was in a book I used to have when I was little called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. The guy lost part of his finger making sausage for the children.
Rat Boy,
And then
have
he
you ever
figured
lost
out that
part
they
of
all
your
like.
tail?
Somebody lost a half a finger inside.
You lost half your mind, son.
Wow.
And you had to throw the whole thing out.
I don't know.
They had to throw out your whole mind? I mean, that's
it-
believable, but
Only the ratness. Only the ratness.
He's got an artificial mind.
There's two disappointments that I didn't
It's
like.
actually one above an Alexa. What?
What?
Two disappointments that I didn't like in wrestling.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, good.
All right.
Look at him getting us back on track.
One of them
Gee, thanks.
happened last year at WrestleMania. All right, John Cena and the Fiend match. That was a stupid match they were put on.
But you're listing that as an all-time disappointment, though?
Yes.
Okay. See, I wouldn't, because I didn't have high expectations. I felt like it wasn't a match, but I wouldn't say it was like an all-time disappointment.
They said it was going to be a match, and they never had a match. They just had John Cena just acting goofy off in all these uniforms and all, and he was in NWO like he's supposed to. That was a disappointment right there.
I've got a better all-time disappointment. I'm going to throw another one at you guys. 11-year-old me thought Zeus was like the most amazing guy in the world. Like, that feud with Hulk Hogan and, everything that they did with Zeus in WWF. And when he came to WCW as Z Gangsta, I couldn't have been more excited. And it was a disappointment, Rat Boy. There's no better way to put it. It was a disappointment.
Those are disappointments.
Right, and another disappointment is,
this
okay?
It is.
It is.
More disappointing is there's nobody else in the queue at the moment.
Here,
yeah.
All right, about this show right here. Another disappointment on this show right here on the VOC Nation in the room. You try to get Sid.
Yeah. I saw
that was a disappointment.
I saw Rob Feinstein had an issue with him this weekend too. He was supposed to do some sort of a virtual signing, and he never.
That was a virtual signing.
And plus, let me.
Hold on, Rat Boy. Hold on.
Okay.
Put your shock collar on. Go ahead, Kathie.
It started last week. He and Doug Gilbert were supposed to come in, and they did have a legit flight problem.
Yeah.
And then Doug called me and said, we're coming in, let's go grab dinner. And then Sid changed his mind. He was afraid.
He wasn't comfortable flying. But then I heard he wanted a first class ticket so he could be more spread out. And when they bought that, he still didn't come.
Now he wants Rob to fly out there to do the signing out there.
Yeah, I'd be like, we're just going to get Dan Spivey and say it to you.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I love Dan
Not
Spivey.
like Dan looks anymore.
No, seriously. I just saw a picture of him the other day. Oh, man. Yeah, it's...
And I remember when Sid come up to the Raw way, New Jersey.
Yeah.
He never showed. And the promoter gave out his telephone number.
The promoter. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the promoter. They gave out his telephone number, and everybody started calling him up.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't show.
I gotcha. Yeah. I mean, like from my perspective, we were supposed to have him on, and I went to do like a pre-show. Like I called him like a couple days out just to make sure he was good. And I didn't have all the details for the independent show that I was supposed to be covering, so he didn't believe that I was legit. Or he's like, "Why aren't you prepared?" And I said, "Because I'm just calling to make sure that you're going to do the interview. I didn't do all the pre-show prep yet." And that was it. You know, he told me off. And then I hung up on him because he started yelling at me, Kathie, so I hung up. And he called me back, and I'm like, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. So I answered it, and I had to lie to him. I said that I got disconnected, and I apologized because I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified of the guy. But that was a phone call that I could not wait to end. Hold on. That was a phone call that I could not wait to end because it's not worth it. It's not worth it, you know. We actually had a friend, Rat Boy. You remember? He used to crank call people, and he called Sid, and he does a really good Hulk Hogan voice, and he called him up, and he's like, "Sid, it's Hulk, brother," and he's like, "Why'd you kick out at 8, man? You ruined my legacy." Because apparently Sid is the only person to ever kick out of the leg drop. I guess until I think The Rock did it, but for a long time, Sid was the only one. So. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good.
And plus, I think that was the same time it happened when he tried to come up here, but he never did. I got you. Away. It happened in the same couple of weeks. But last night, I want to get into the last night.
Oh, I thought we already did.
If you watch the video when Alexa Bliss threw the flame at him, at Orton, the flame hit his cheek. Okay, what did he held his forehead for?
I don't know, Rat Boy. I'll tell you what. We're going to let you go, and we're going to talk about that very issue.
You know, that's crazy, though. You know, if you get hit somewhere, you get over with a...
You know what, Rat Boy?
Go down forehead.
The whole world is crazy, except for us.
Here comes Kane.
Yeah, and I just want to wish a latest happy birthday to Justin that calls into the show.
Yeah, he hasn't called in a while because he's a paranormal investigator now.
And guess whose birthday it is also? R-Truth.
There you go.
Well, happy birthday to him and Justin.
And Jimmy.
Jimmy. Brady, before you let me go, yes, I got to say.
Yep, say hi to Mr. T for us, Boy.
Go ahead.
I have to say something real quick. I nominate for the roast this year no other than Ray Bogusz for the roast this year. I nominate him today.
All right, homie.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
That'd be fun.
Take care.
Love you, brother.
I mean, it's not that I wouldn't necessarily like be up for it, but if you're gonna have a roast, shouldn't it be like someone people care about in any meaningful sense?
I say no offense. I mean no offense when I say it. But yeah, I don't know that aside from a handful of listeners on here that we're going to be able to dig up a lot of people to roast you.
Yeah, I mean no one, like, it's not, come on, bud. Like
hey, he's trying.
If you listen, yeah, I mean I get it.
Yeah.
Like if you listen to this show, you know me, but like, you know, the roast needs to go beyond the show. That's why you were all the wrestlers that go to conventions in the Northeast know who Rat Boy is. That was why we could get away with doing that. But I don't think it would work with anybody else. I think it kind of died when I pitched the idea of doing Kathie to Booker T and Stevie Ray, and they said absolutely not. So I think that was kind of the end of the roast right there. Yeah, that probably was the end. Yeah, we've talked a lot about disappointments.
We could roast somebody at some point, you know. It's got to be. It's tough because it's got to be somebody that, and the only one in our back pocket is Stro, and honestly, he's so nice. I don't think anybody's going to have a bad thing to say about him.
I mean, I could lie, like. I mean, I could just.
That's what it would be.
I just like straight.
That's what it would be.
Look at this Stro, he's a bad guy. He's not interesting or hardworking in any way.
I can't get over the face that I'm looking at while you're talking.
So I guess before we go back to talking about disappointments, not disappointments the way Rat Boys call was a disappointment, but
nothing disappoints like that.
So as a little treat for you guys who watch the YouTube show every week, there will be a different picture representing me instead. And this week, to lead off, we are leading off with the first true super heavyweight in wrestling history, Happy Humphrey. And he was really big in the 50s and 60s.
Not Hubert Humphrey.
No, not Hubert Humphrey. Not Hubert H. Humphrey, not the Metrodome guy. No, not him. And he actually was really ahead of his time as far as like fan interaction and kind of playing up the gimmick. You know, they had a special car for him, and he ended up losing a lot of the weight for a long time in his life, and so he kind of just went away. And you know, he ended up gaining all of it back, and so like he couldn't kind of be an old timer like during the 80s boom. So like he kind of gets forgotten. I thought it was just kind of a nice way to, you know, start this.
I like it. I like it.
Maybe someone that's not always around, not always at the forefront.
He looks very lovable. He looks very like Kenny Bolin. You know, at some point, Kenny Bolin gained so much weight that he just started to look like his own grandmother. And I say that lovingly. He did. He looked like his own grandmother. And that's how this guy is about at this point.
Well, you know, at one point, I think he was over 900 pounds.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Was he one of the motorcycle guys?
No,
was he one of the motorcycle guys?
No, so Happy Humphrey was...
He was too happy.
40s, 50s, and then early 60s. The motorcycle guys are 70s.
Okay.
The motorcycle
brothers
wouldn't it have been
70s. Wouldn't it have been something if they called him Happy Humphrey for a reason? And whenever he fell on somebody, it was doubly painful?
Yes.
I know, I'm goofy. 914-338-1885.
You know, you guys have
the
already
number. And the phone lines are wide open, by the way, right now. So we're just kind of, what would you say? I guess we're free balling it.
Yeah, we're
That's
free
probably
balling.
not the right word.
Yeah, we're free. Free balling.
Sorry, Kathie.
You got to take that thing off of that hat. I'm dying.
Why? It's my mullet hair. I like pairing this with a good lucha. You know what I do? At Halloween, I grew a little mustache, and I wore this with a lucha mask. So I had a mullet and a mustache with a lucha mask. It was perfect.
There you go. I don't understand why that's not just your everyday attire. Forget anything else.
Ideally, one day I won't need it, you know?
That's
you know
true.
What I did? I did a murder mystery years ago, Kathie, and the theme was 80s. So I wanted to have a glorious mullet. So that's what I went ahead and I got the headband with the... Because I don't know, it looks like very 80s to me.
Well, that's good.
Well, guys, this has been fun.
Like Kona Crush.
It's been hysterical.
You leaving?
Yeah, 5:30.
Oh, no. No more dirty jokes now.
You can start without me. It's okay.
Oh.
All right, Kathie. Good to
Good
talk
night,
to you.
Ray. Good night, Stro.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Kathie.
Have a good night.
You know, as we transition into the, I guess the blue portion of this program,
the 2 hour lights out edition.
Yeah, the 2 hours of lights out. You know, you guys have already mentioned.
Does she know that she's still on? Okay,
no,
there we
she's
go.
gone. You guys have already mentioned a lot.
Fall asleep in front of the TV. Yeah.
You guys already mentioned a lot of the bigger disappointments, sort of in wrestling history. I want to give you an under the radar one that like maybe it's not necessarily like the big. It's certainly not as big as some of the disappointments that have been brought up, but it's definitely a missed opportunity.
Sure.
Do you remember when The Miz had the WWE title and he was feuding with the different legends? And
I remember Jerry Lawler.
And they did the angle with Lawler, which is what I was going to say they brought up. And they did the ladder match for the title.
Mm-hmm.
The title had already changed hands so many times that, like, it wouldn't have been devalued at all to sort of, like, kind of let us have that moment and let Lawler get the belt down and, either have him drop it at, I think there was a pay-per-view in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Or even if you really wanted to, have him drop it the next week on Raw in another match. And the fact that they didn't do that was really disappointing because it was something you probably weren't going to be able to generate again, and there was nothing was really going to be derailed or devalued by doing it. And yeah, I think certainly of recently, that's one of the more missed opportunities. If for no other reason than it was a chance to do something unique and out of the box that you weren't necessarily going to be able to build to again.
No, I do agree. I do agree. I felt like it was a missed opportunity on a number of different levels, for sure. I can remember arguing with Derrick around that time about who was going to be more significant, Kofi Kingston or The Miz, when all was said and done with their careers. And I know that they tied in terms of world titles, and they kind of both had about the same length of a kind of run at the top. I never really considered the fact that probably neither one would end up being that significant in the grander scheme.
I would actually say at this point, I would say it's so hard to judge Kofi, though, because sort of where does Kofi Kingston end and success through New Day begin?
Well, that's the thing is I thought he had kind of made that separation and then went back. It's weird. I looked at it, and I'm curious what you guys think, but I looked at it like when WWE made the decision that we're going to separate Big E from these two and give him a little bit of a push and see where it takes him. I looked at that as the official end of the Kofi Kingston experiment. They basically see him as more of a sidekick guy, which is how I always saw him.
He is. I mean, realistic, because they tried doing angry Kofi Kingston.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that didn't really work. And then they tried doing champion Kofi Kingston, and this is nothing against Kofi, who I think is actually a very, very talented wrestler. But he just his strengths play better as a sidekick, or at the very least with a partner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Miz, I guess Miz might end up going down as like nominally more important just because let's face it, when you think of Miz, I don't think of Miz and Morrison anymore.
No, I mean, at this point, Morrison is his sidekick. I mean, they could have put the Money in the Bank thing on Morrison, and they didn't. And they didn't for a reason. It's because Miz gets more heat. And Miz is the guy that's been there year after year. It's almost like a way of giving back to him as he's in his late 30s now. It's to me, it made sense. I think that if you had to split them up, I think John Morrison would take significantly more rehabilitation to become a main eventer. Whereas like The Miz, I think, is almost there. He just doesn't win enough.
I think that's probably right. And the thing with Morrison, too, is if you think back to that first sort of tenure on SmackDown, which really kind of ended up being the high point of his career.
Sure.
He never was a guy that was going to generate heat. He was, or really even generate cheers. He was a guy that was there, and he was very good at performing, but like there wasn't anything, if that makes any sense. And I'm not trying to be insulting, but there wasn't anything there.
Listen, I agree. Now, I don't know that I would qualify either of them is a disappointment per se, but I understand what you're saying.
Oh, no, I don't think either of them was a disappointment, if for no other reason that when you split them up, I mean, did anyone really have high expectations of them?
When they split up Miz and Morrison, you're talking.
Yeah, that first time they split them up, I mean, because I seem to remember coming on this show saying that.
Wasn't Morrison on his way out of the company at that point?
Yeah, I mean, when you split them up, you kind of knew Morrison was on his way out, and nobody had any expectations for the Miz. If anything, well, his significance is probably still up in the air and debatable. Miz almost can't be a disappointment because when you split them, your expectations for him were so low that essentially, if he managed to live, he was succeeding.
I remember we had the in-person PWI 500 meeting that year with The Miz. And most of the room wanting to go with John Cena. And me being very adamant that, this was The Miz's year. I mean, he won Tag Team, Intercontinental, Heavyweight Gold. They built to him all year. He won the Money in the Bank. He cashed in the Money in the Bank. He won the title. Regardless of how you feel about how he won it, that's a situation that you created where now you kind of have to accept the Money in the Bank cash-in as, beginning of a legitimate reign. Especially when you start doing it with baby faces as well. So now you got Edge, you got CM Punk doing it, and it's all of a sudden, it's not just a cowardly thing to do. It's taking advantage of the rules. And yet, same as in the NFL, if you lose your quarterback, well, you exploit the backup quarterback because that's what the opposing team is going to do. They're going to exploit the guy that's out. And it's kind of, it's cowardly, but that was my whole argument the whole time is Miz played within the rules and he had a damn good year that year. I think it was 2011 or 2010 or something like that. It might've been 2012.
Right.
Yeah. And and you can't even say oh, well, he won every match by cheating or whatever, because when Ric Flair was winning all those 80s, all those matches of the year in the 80s, was he doing that with absolutely no help from anybody? No.
No, he was working
he had a lot of help.
Right, he was working with one of the deepest talent benches in the history of wrestling. When you look at the actual number of people, you go through Flair's career, particularly pre-Monday Night Wars, Ric Flair's career. The people that he was having matches with, you forget that he was having matches with Dr.
The Hall of
Death.
Fame roster. Yeah.
Yeah, hey, would you like to wrestle against literally the strongest group of wrestlers we could pull from the Hall of Fame? Oh no, I don't want to do that. My career won't be anything.
Right.
That would be ridiculous. You mentioned another thing, sort of jarred my memory of something that ended up being a disappointment, and it was a disappointment because Vince didn't take the risk that he would have needed to take, and it's particularly a shame that he didn't take it because there was virtually no downside.
Okay.
If you'll think back to 2011 when CM Punk won the title at Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And then took off.
He left. Went to Ring of Honor.
Wasn't the better angle to have him leave for months, then return and have a title versus title unification match?
I think, listen, from a fan's perspective, that would have been the most interesting thing. But I think from a company perspective, and Stro, maybe you could even have insight into this, but I feel when you let your champion leave and do interplay in other places, all you're doing is giving your fans an opportunity to go see other products besides your own. That's how I felt about it.
Well, I'm not a fan of, per se, having a champion go to another promotion and belittle their champion. You know what I mean? It just...
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about business, and you're supposed to do good business wherever you go, and make money wherever you're with, and if if the purpose is just bury a company and just to get someone over, I mean, that's not business. I mean, that's ignorance actually, because I mean, we're all in this thing to make money in the business, and you can't make any money if you bury a whole company and their champion with another guy, another promotion.
Oh, for sure. So like, and that's part of what I think made it a disappointment, is that like, if you were going to have him take the title and leave, why not have him not wrestle anywhere? Have him be places in the media where he can be seen saying, no, look, I'm the champion. Take advantage of the tools around you. No, I don't want him going to, I don't want him going to Ring of Honor and belittling the champion of Ring of Honor, or going to Dragon Gate and belittling whoever's sort of, the thoughts for Dragon Gate. But it seemed like keeping him away and turning it into more of a media and dispute angle might have been better. And I guess it's disappointing because if you look at that from the perspective of a fan, not that I normally do that on this show, but like it's disappointing that they didn't want to take that risk.
And you know what, you're right. And again, from a fan perspective, it would have been much more exciting had he shown up on Ring of Honor and defended the title there for a couple weeks, as opposed to what they did do, which I think was take like 1 week off, and then he returned on the same night where they crowned the champion in the tournament, if I remember correctly.
It was very, very close.
Yeah. And after that impassioned speech and everything, the whole thing just came off as so baloney. You're right. I do agree. It was a disappointment from a fan's perspective, for sure.
Definitely.
I don't know.
Definitely.
It was definitely disappointing.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm never. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're fine. I was just going to say we're bringing on Derrick.
I was saying this that because when angles like that happen, it never lasts. And then the people that got buried, they have to start all over again to get themselves as more established again, because they just had some guy come in and just run roughshod over all of them, and now they got the safe face for their fan base for that particular promotion. And
CM Punk ran down everybody.
Yeah,
he really did. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. So we're bringing on Derrick McDonald, who hasn't been on in a while. Derrick, tonight, first of all, I hope you're doing well. We're talking about disappointments in wrestling, just like grand things that you have in your head that just don't work out the way you think. And Ray brought up CM Punk winning the title and walking out of WWF or WWE. And like from a fan perspective, that was definitely disappointing. He was gone for like 2 weeks and then he was back, as if like none of what he said meant anything.
Well, first of all, I hope everybody's doing well. I apologize for my absence. Work has been kicking my ass, and I've been getting home late. But in terms of angles that are disappointing, I'm going to come in hot, and people probably going to get upset.
Oh, no.
The current angle that's happening now. I don't see how the AEW Impact relationship helps Impact.
Thank you.
I don't.
It's just a talent race.
I don't see how. Yeah, I don't see how, because they have two world champions in Moose and Rich Swann. They made Kenny Omega, the outside guy, look like the bigger star. He pinned their champion at their pay-per-view last week. Tony Khan's on the TV show every week saying how bad they are and he might buy the company because they're losing money and blah, 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 this and that. And in my head, I'm going, how is this helping Impact at all? They're burying all your talent. If you put the title on Kenny Omega, he beats your champion. None of your guys were credible.
Is Don Callis an owner? I don't even know enough about their structure anymore.
Me either.
Like
just like an employee.
Because if it were his company, I would say he's probably looking to have a merger at some point and cut his losses. But I have no idea. I'm assuming he's not financially tied in. I really haven't kept track of that structure since Dixie left, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so I was just
either, I know people go, it's amazing, it's putting eyes on Impact, but do you really want those eyes on your product if you're looking like a Bush League compared to AEW? I'm not sure I want people to see me in that light.
It's funny because when as much as people bash WWE or WWF at the time, when they did that ECW invasion in 1997, they did everything they could to make those guys look incredible. They really did. Yeah. Like when they came on Raw, they took over, and it was like that became the segment that you had to see. And they put everybody over. They even had Taz go after Jerry Lawler. Like it was just the entire thing, top to bottom, was great. And from the ECW end of it, I didn't think they did so good. I mean, they had the Jerry Lawler appearance in the arena. That was a memorable moment. But if you remember, who did they send? They sent friggin' Zip. I love Tom Pritchard, I do. But, the name that he had created in the WWF, he wasn't Tom Pritchard, he was Zip. They sent Zip to ECW to get destroyed. And that's their answer?
Yeah, and
they didn't even send Chris Candido.
I know, and if you remember, they aligned Jerry Lawler with Sabu and RVD, and when they had the match with Tommy Dreamer and those guys, if I'm remembering correctly, Jerry Lawler didn't go over. He lost to the ECW guys on the ECW show.
Yeah,
that's what's supposed to happen.
Right. That was, like I said, that was a memorable feud. It was a memorable moment. But in terms of WWF representation, they made it like Jerry Lawler went on his own. Who did WWF send to defend their honor? It was Zip.
And that's not who you want to send.
No.
Not at all. And
send Tom Pritchard if you're going to do that.
I heard a media call with Triple H, and this is right when the Impact AEW stuff happened, and they asked Triple H, hey, because you see WWE working with any of the companies, and he said something.
I saw that.
And he said, yeah, if it makes sense for both, it makes good business sense for both of us.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely true. I think Impact is they just wanted people to talk about them. They wanted to be cared about so much again. They just agreed to whatever AEW, wanted to do, and it's making them look like a Bush League thing.
Am I the only person, by the way, 914-338-1885, the phone lines are wide open if you guys want to jump in on the discussion. We'll get you right on. Am I the only person that thought it would be hilarious if the WWE somehow worked out a deal with New Japan and just circumvented everything that AEW and Impact wrestlers are trying to do? Because half that talent roster went to those places thinking they're going to have the opportunity to work in Japan when it opens up. Maybe not half. Half of Impact for sure.
That's funny. I'll tell you what. There's another thing to this that we haven't even gotten to yet. Is that
what's that, Happy?
You guys are right. It makes this entire thing makes no sense from a TNA perspective.
Right.
This doesn't make sense from an AEW perspective either. Why are you taking up time to do this? It would be one thing if TNA were like a legitimate, viable promotion that you were competing against, and boy, isn't this making both people look good? And wow, that AEW talent is really strong, and this must be a good promotion, and we should invest some time in watching this.
Yeah,
this would be like if I was playing basketball against a 6-year-old, and it doesn't. This isn't doing anything for them. Like if you're AEW and you want somebody that's on TNA.
I used to love playing with my 6-year-old cousin. I'd be like freaking Rob Gronkowski out there catching everything. Like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're just posting up, dunking on him. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna
do? Yeah.
Like if you're
That's good
AEW,
memory.
how the hell do you not have enough confidence in your own talent that you can't just say to these TNA guys, hey, come work for us. Come work for us. Come be on our show. You don't need TNA. First off, nobody needs TNA. Derek and I declared TNA dead years ago.
Did you read about where they want to add another hour to AEW Dynamite?
Did they really? Oh, God.
I can't
catch up with it now. Oh,
why?
Man.
Why?
Listen,
they have a sweet spot.
TNA hasn't done one thing right since they changed their name to Impact Wrestling. Like, they should just go back and pretend it's 2009 again. They really should. They really should.
This would have been a perfect relationship if this was the version of TNA that had Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and all those guys who put on great matches and actually brought something. But at this point, and like I said, I like Rich Swann. But Rich Swann is your world champion. It's like, come on.
You're talking about Rich Swann. I mean, no offense to these guys, but you're talking about Rich Swann. You're talking about Sami Callihan. I mean, who else? Falabala. Like, I mean, like, who are you talking about that they have that's like, they had Evan Bourne or Matt Sydal. I'm sorry, they had Matt Sydal, and he jumped to AEW before this began.
And you're doing the Bullet Club thing, and it's like, it's 2021. Like, are there no new ideas out there? And I think the only reason they're doing the Bullet Club thing is because they want you to think New Japan is coming in. And from what I saw with Meltzer, New Japan still doesn't want to have anything to do with either one of these companies because they're pissed at how Cody and the Bucks left New Japan. And they're still mad at how TNA booked, their guys, and they let TNA hold their guys. So I don't know.
You're right.
But like you said, I'm a fan of people giving the middle finger to people. So there's nothing more I would love than for Vince to, walk on TV and shake hands with the president of New Japan.
Be amazing.
That'd be hilarious.
Be amazing. Be like, now you guys can be seen in prime time on the WWE network. That'd be amazing. That's some good shit, as they say. 914-338-1885. I know the impression's bad, but I'm fading. It's funny. I almost feel like that entire AEW Impact thing was entirely just to make Kenny Omega seem more important than he is. That really is the only reason that all this has been done.
And I'm not one of these guys who think like your world champion has to be this big guy and he has to be a bodybuilder. But if you look at Kenny Omega, and you turn on SmackDown and you look at Roman Reigns, or if you turn on Raw, which is a terrible show, but if you turn on Raw and you see Drew McIntyre, Kenny doesn't look like he's in the same class as those two guys. Now, in the ring, he's amazing. But if you're a casual fan and you look and you see him and you see Roman Reigns, you're like, wow, there's no way they're both world champions.
I know.
The thing is with Kenny Omega, and I like Kenny Omega.
I do too.
Me too.
But like, if you're AEW, and I remember I watched him win the title, and I remember thinking, this is really nice. Wow, they're going to have to put a lot of work into him for a world champion. And I just, like, if you're AEW, I mean, Brady, I think you're right. I mean, you're doing all this TNA stuff that makes no sense and doesn't benefit your company in order to help.
It's for Kenny. Yeah, because the girls with the brooms just isn't enough.
But like, why?
Or that intro.
Why not? This should have, if you were going to do this idea that none of us seems to think was a particularly good idea, but if you were going to do this idea, why wouldn't you build Kenny Omega first, then have him come in and win the title. It's an off. You're doing it backward.
I don't know.
Why you don't build your champion? Your champion builds other people.
I mean, if I had the book, I would do like a 10-hour super show with Impact and AEW, and I would have Cody Rhodes run the gauntlet and beat everybody on both rosters.
Well, they already
over
do
the
that.
course of 10 hours.
They just spread it
all
out
in
over
one show. All in one show.
They do that. They just spread out the show throughout the week.
Yeah, and it's nuts because as big as the star they want Omega to be, and I think it could be if they put energy into him.
Cody's going to beat him.
Seems like a bigger deal than him on the show. It's like Cody still seems like he's the superstar of the show.
You know for a fact, before they do Cody and Sting, they're going to have Cody beat Kenny Omega for that title. I know he said he wouldn't with the stipulation. They'll find their way around that. That's what this is building towards. Cody and Sting for the title.
That's great.
Because I thought Hangman could have been that guy. I thought you build up Hangman, have him first Jericho.
He's a drunk though.
They put him in he's a drunk. Who's Kenny Omega's drunken taxi partner for the first.
He looks like Happy Humphrey now. No, that's Jericho. No, I shouldn't say that. I apologize, Chris. They'll be coming after me. I'll have him and Taz coming after me online. I love them both. I'm just playing. It's the price of trying to be entertaining all the time.
And speaking of Chris Jericho, at some point he has to wake up and go, my job here is done. Right? He has to realize he's done all he can do.
Yeah, I mean, when it's time for the Hall of Fame, I'm pretty sure he'll be long done with AEW by that point. Unless creatively he wants to get involved there behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And that would be a shame because I think he has a lot of ideas that could benefit WWE with a much better talent base.
I mean, look what Daniel Bryan's doing on SmackDown. He's like single-handedly saved like Apollo and Nakamura and Cesaro.
It's become the #1 show in the last couple months.
It's so much better. It's like it's even coming.
And it's competitive. Like the wins and losses mean something, you know? It's the whole thing top to bottom is just so much better than it was.
Yeah.
Before Daniel Bryan took over, it was basically a 2-person show with Sasha and Bayley.
That's a little carrying it up.
Yeah. Good stuff. 914-338-1885. So I see it's about 10:30 here on the East Coast, and we are going to cut the phone lines off at 11. So if you guys want to call in before 11, we'd love to have you. Again, 914-338-1885. What I want to do is I want to take a real quick commercial break, and on the other side, we'll continue this discussion. We'll talk some more disappointments and maybe take some more callers, hopefully. This is In the Room on the VOC Nation Radio Network, and we will be right back.
This is Matt Hardy, and you are listening to the VOC Nation.
Rock and Roll Union for the past 2 years has been the place for rock and roll, new rock and roll, debuting rock and roll, and some of the old classics as well. We have welcomed guests from around the world, national artists, and more. We have excited many people by our live events. We've welcomed everybody into the fold, and we continue to do so on a weekly basis. Guys, that is Rock and Roll Union, and that is what we do for you.
Saturdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, VOCNation.com.
Since 2012, HISC Talk Radio has been bringing you the best of independent wrestling and wrestling on the worldwide scale with interviews and other segments, now featuring the Wrestling Historian with Craig Ligon every Thursday night at 6 p.m. at VOCNation.com, or go to your Android or iPhone and type in VOC Nation Radio Network and subscribe to the greatest wrestling podcast network in the world. Listen to HISC Wrestling Podcast today.
VOC Nation provides live daily streaming shows where fans have the ability to interact with the hosts and guests by phone call, email, and Twitter VOC Nation hosts include the legendary Ken Resnick, who you probably remember from the AWA and WWE, former WCW performer The Maestro, Wes Brisco, who you probably remember from Impact, Brady Hicks, who you remember from Pro Wrestling Illustrated, former WWE and TNA star Shelly Martinez, and former Philly radio personality Bruce Wirt. What are you waiting for? Go listen live right now at VOCNation.com and subscribe to all of our podcasts by searching for VOC Nation Radio Network on your favorite podcast app. Oh, and follow them on Twitter too, at VOC Nation.
The worldwide leader in entertainment. This is the VOC Nation Radio Network.
All right, 914-338-1885. It's in the room on the VOC Nation Radio Network at VOCNation.com. I'm going to ask our YouTube producer, Bruce Wirt, to kind of flash the time, the day, and the phone number so we can get all new callers, because I just can't wait to talk to all of you guys. 914-338-1885. It's in the room on the VOC Nation Radio Network. We are having a great time talking about wrestling disappointments and all different kinds of stuff here and there. And we have a caller in the queue, which is it's been a very slow night, so I get excited over this kind of stuff. You might call me a happy Humphrey in a way, because I get excited. I'm also joined, of course, by Stro Maestro and Ray Bogusz, and like I said, we're talking disappointments. One disappointment, by the way, that I didn't even mention before we kick it to Torah is Randy Orton with that mask. I really expected like him to morph into Mr. Wrestling with a burnt nose. You know, it would have been amazing. And I got the feeling like they just found the thing laying in somebody's bag and they're like, here, put this on. I don't know. The whole thing is kind of silly, I guess. I don't know. In any event, it was cool to see Randy Orton in a mask, and I wouldn't mind it if he kind of went crazy for a couple months and wore a mask. I just wish that it was a little more creative of a mask.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he could do a remake for Nacho Libre.
That would be great. Run for the border, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Torah. Hey, Torah, what's going on, honey doll? Torah.
Under the sea.
Torah.
Academia, Arturo.
We're going to have a forfeit here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, Torah's counted out. Oh, well. Thanks anyway, Torah. See, it's my fault. I asked her to call in. Yeah, I asked. It's my fault. Yeah, I asked her to call in, but I didn't tell her to talk. So that's my bad, as they say.
See, yeah, that's a lack of planning on your part, which is.
We'll go back to her. We'll go back to her. I'm sure she'll message me and say put her on. Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you think she is when that happens? Because she can't always be at the bar.
I think she is always at the bar.
That's should we do like an intervention?
No, because have you ever talked to her sober?
No.
I'm kidding. That was bad. FML. Yeah. Torah, you there?
Torah.
There she is. Torah, Ray wants to do an intervention. Hey. I told him you don't need none of that.
No, I don't.
No.
All right. Well, I'm sold.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Now, Torah, where are you?
I'm in the bar.
Okay, I figured. Okay. So what's the drink of choice tonight?
Bourbon and Sprite.
Bourbon and Sprite. Okay.
Okay. That's not what I mean, those are two things that you could put into a cup together.
That sounds delicious.
Now, I like
Torah, I'll be honest, you could have said shoe polish and I would have been like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who among us hasn't drank shoe polish?
Well, nobody likes it because you turned your tongue black.
So does licorice.
Torah, did I just hear someone in St. Louis say to go out past the ocean?
Yes.
No.
Okay, I thought that's what I heard.
Not that I know of.
Okay. Okay. Torah, you're sending me pictures of Randy Orton, and his face isn't burnt. Did you take that picture?
Nope.
Okay. So how do you know it wasn't before the accident?
Take that picture.
How do you know it wasn't before then?
Before the accident?
Yeah.
It was found on Facebook.
Yeah, but it could have been before the accident.
I exaggerated on
Could have been.
Yeah. Especially since it's dated. Oh, yeah, January 17th. Yeah. It's dated January 17th at 10:12 p.m. So, yeah. No, I guess it was after the accident. Unless the date is wrong. This is fun, Torah. We should get you to call in more.
Oh, I will. I didn't
Okay.
forget about you.
You know, Torah, it's funny because everybody else forgot about us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Did they tell you why they don't like us anymore?
Uh-oh.
Can you ask them why they don't like us?
No.
No?
It's my fault.
I can.
You can. Yeah, please do. 'Cause I bend over backwards to talk to people. And I'm so nice to everybody.
Yeah.
I think, Ray,
It's
don't you
true.
think if nothing, I'm always nice?
It's true. You're always telling me to be nicer to the callers. And you know what? I got to tell you, I have been.
Yeah, because they're not calling in.
Even when they do call in, and look, how many weeks in a row? How many weeks in a row do I have to say that John from Rhode Island, if you're out there, I want you back.
I don't think he wants back.
I know, but I miss
I
him.
know. I'm like a bad promoter now. I'm running down fans that choose not to come to my show. Oh, man. Sorry, Torah. Torah, tonight we're talking about wrestling disappointments. Is there anything that happened in wrestling that really disappointed you?
When Orton had burned the Fiend.
That disappointed you?
Yeah.
Why?
Because the Fiend is a good guy.
Well, I know.
He's not a bad guy.
Randy Orton's the bad guy.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you be disappointed in the Fiend if the Fiend did it? Because he's a good guy. You expect the bad guy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't expect is for the good guy to sneak attack the bad guy and get him back, mutilating him before one of the biggest matches of his career. That's not usually what you get from the good guy.
No, I would say that's it's definitely non-traditional.
I don't understand it. I don't know, Torah. Torah, are you helping book it? Are you helping book the show?
No.
Okay.
Now, Brady, when you asked if she was helping book it, I thought you meant like
drinking and talking.
Oh, like Pizza Hut book it?
Yeah, I thought you meant like Pizza Hut book it, like Torah.
Oh, I
missed
missed Pizza Hut book it.
Oh God, I was good at we got a lot. I'll tell you, I was good at reading. We got a lot of pizza.
And as good as I was at reading, do you remember how they did the 5-minute pizzas? They put the timer out, and you had to it had to be out in 5 minutes or less, or it was free. I used to eat them in under 5 minutes. I would leave the timer there, and I had to pay double if I didn't get it done in 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I always won.
I'll tell you what. My parents were real troopers. Because I mean, my brother and I both, every month we'd be scoring the book at coupon. And
I never read so much in my life.
And they would take us every time, even though like now as an adult I understand what Pizza Hut does to your body. And I think about that. Like they were real soldiers, soldiering through all that Pizza Hut.
Yeah. Torah, you eat Pizza Hut?
Guarantee she does.
Yep.
You know what I missed? They took it off the local menu, the cheese garlic bread. That stuff was like white pizza on Texas toast. It was amazing. So good.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Did you do book it when you were little?
No.
So, here's the thing.
Okay.
I'm having a party on February 28th.
All right.
Are you doing a book it party?
It's a book it party.
It's the book it man.
Birthday party.
Okay.
And I'm celebrating my birthday on the 3rd. My birthday is really on the 3rd, but I'm just having it.
3rd of February?
Yeah.
Okay. You see, my girlfriend's is the 4th, so I can remember that really easily. That's great, because now that I know that Torah's birthday's on the 3rd, I'll always remember Kelly's birthday.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
That's a totally healthy thing to say.
Yes. That's...
Yeah.
That's great. All right, Torah.
Well, Torah,
this
I'm
has
so
been
glad
fun.
Torah, that's been...
This is so fun.
Torah, what's your favorite chicken place?
My favorite who?
Chicken.
Your favorite chicken place?
Lee's Chicken.
Lee's.
Lee's. All right. Now, is that a
I never
local
heard of
place?
that. There's a Lee's Hoagie House near here. Wonder if they make chicken where you are.
Chicken hoagies.
It's located off of Kings Highway in Chippewa.
Chippewa. Okay. Chippewa favorite.
Yeah,
I got a Chippewa zone.
Yeah,
Chippewa, Missouri zone.
It's a Chippewa institution.
Yeah.
To where I like Chick-fil-A and I like Popeyes, and I ain't getting into a whole debate about it because I like them both.
Yeah.
That's the problem, Tor, is I like almost everything. Except for Arby's. I think that's a front for drugs because I don't know who eats there, and it's always packed. Granny Hulkster's the only person that ever admitted to me that she eats Arby's.
So, right now, Arby's has the Andes mint chocolate shake.
Okay.
That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. And it's on the way home.
I'm not familiar. Yeah.
Oh, it's well, the Andes, those are those little mint candies that you sometimes find on your pillow at like a hotel.
Okay. I like Andes, so.
Yeah, those are solid. Like I
like getting those when I leave like a fancy restaurant. They always give you like a pile of Andes.
Oh yeah.
That's something.
You don't have to go to a
there.
fancy restaurant. I mean, you can just buy them at the store.
I know.
Do they still have?
I like to buy I like to buy filet mignon before I get my Andes mint.
Oh wow!
All right, Torah. It's been real. I love you, honey.
It's been real something.
Please, if you talk to people, tell them that I love them and I'm sorry for whatever I did, and I want them to call back. And I love each and every one of them equally. Well, not equally, but I love each and every one of them. Well, I like most of them. All right, Torah, take care.
All right.
You all right, honey?
No.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay. Torah, one last thing before you go. Tell Stro, flip himself upside down. He's upside down. Torah, yell it. Say, Stro, get your head upright. There you go. All right, Torah.
Right.
All right. Have a bourbon and Sprite on me. Well, that was something.
Bourbon and Sprite.
Yeah.
Don't you? Now, I like to just drink my hard liquor on the rocks, but like for Sprite, don't you want to put a clear liquor in?
You would think. That's the idea.
You would think
like bourbon and Coke, I could see that.
Yeah, like for Sprite, I would think you'd want to choose like gin, vodka, or like a white rum.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Screwdriver. That's my wedding drink. Because it hits hard, and it tastes good, and it goes down smooth, and then when you start belching, you're belching orange juice, which is one of the better ones.
That's true. I'm going to tell you that they have champagne in a can, and that has really become...
Is that Golden Anniversary brand?
No. Like there's a wide variety of brands. Now I go straight to the Andre.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, it hits the spot. It really does.
Sounds good.
It does. I think that is probably better than Sprite and bourbon. What kind of bourbon do you think she drinks?
I would imagine bottom shelf, whatever they have.
See, I used to date a girl who was a real train wreck, and she used to drink bourbon.
Oh, they're the best.
And she drank a lot of Jim Beam, and so
yeah, that ain't the best.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably like, if that's not exactly it, I feel like Torah's in that area. I feel like Torah's definitely in the Jim Beam area.
I would say, I mean, I wouldn't call her a train wreck, but I would imagine we're not always using the tracks.
No.
I think that's safe to say.
I think
more like a trackless trolley. Goes wherever the cable will let her.
That's
yeah, I know. That wasn't nice. I'm not even sure what that means, quite honestly. Well, I think we hit a wall.
I think we have to. This might be a good time. This might be a good time to do propers and get out of Dodge.
I'm thinking so. And it'll certainly make it easier to clean this stuff up in post. Not that we do a lot of editing, but you know what? It'll also be nice to get some sleep tonight. So anyway, Ray, did you have anything that you wanted to plug for this week?
So I do. I have a delightful shaving product that I have discovered. It's from a company called Popeye's Barbershop. And if you are the kind of person like me that has an entire forest of steel wool growing on his face, and you are tired of having to purchase a new razor every time that you shave, I would very seriously recommend checking them out. But I have no like entertainment things. Like I just have like unsolicited advertisement plugs this week. So I guess that goes to Stro next because he has actual things to plug.
Stro, what do you got going on this week, brother?
I mentioned earlier in the podcast this Thursday night WCW Retro, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on VOC Nation.
90 seconds
We'll be talking about wrestling's giants, monsters, and attractions. And then Friday night on the Stro Zone on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Stro Maestro, the feature at midnight Eastern Standard Time will be Toe Boy the Great from the 50s.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to In the Room this week, right here on VOCNation.com. Don't forget to check out the special video version available on the VOC Nation Radio Network YouTube account. Thank you to all the callers. Thank you to the best crew I could ever ask for. Bruce Wirt behind the glass, by the way, running things, taking care of things for us. Thank you, Stro. Thank you, Kathie. Thank you, Ray, Derrick, Matt Grimm. Everybody has just been top-notch helping me with this thing, and I appreciate it so much. That's about it. Everybody take care. Be good to each other. Check out all the other great shows available on VOCNation.com. And we will talk to you guys next week. Much love. Be safe. Bye-bye.
This is Matt Hardy, and you are listening to the VOC Nation.
Rock and Roll Union for the past 2 years has been the place for rock and roll, new rock and roll, debuting rock and roll, and some of the old classics as well. We have welcomed guests from around the world, national artists, and more. We have excited many people by our live events. We've welcomed everybody into the fold, and we continue to do so on a weekly basis. Guys, that is Rock and Roll Union, and that is what we do for you.
Saturdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, VOCNation.com.
Since 2012, HISC Talk Radio has been bringing you the best of independent wrestling and wrestling on the worldwide scale, with interviews and other segments now featuring the Wrestling Historian with Craig Legans every Thursday night at 6 p.m. at VOCNation.com, or go to your Android or iPhone and type in VOC Nation Radio Network and subscribe to the greatest wrestling podcast network in the world. Listen to HISC Wrestling Podcast today.
VOC Nation provides live daily streaming shows where fans have the ability to interact with the hosts and guests by phone call, email, and Twitter. VOC Nation hosts include the legendary Ken Resnick, who you probably remember from the AWA and WWE, former WCW performer The Maestro, Wes Brisco, who you probably remember from Impact, Brady Hicks, who you remember from Pro Wrestling Illustrated, former WWE and TNA star Shelly Martinez, and former Philly radio personality Bruce Wirt. What are you waiting for? Go listen live right now at VOCNation.com and subscribe to all of our podcasts by searching for VOC Nation Radio Network on your favorite podcast app. Oh, and follow them on Twitter too, at VOC Nation.
The worldwide leader in entertainment. This is the VOC Nation Radio Network.